I am recording this presentation. And I am going to let everyone in. We are starting to come in. Good morning, good morning. We'll give it a couple of more seconds and wait for some people to log in. Good morning, everyone. See some smiling faces. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to give it a few more seconds, but while we're waiting for people to join us this morning, thank you for joining us this early Tuesday morning. So happy Tuesday to everyone. Thank you for coming to our July business workshop. Super excited to see what's going to happen today. I know that our speaker, Todd Paton, has some wonderful tips and tricks and some valuable information on content that grows revenue. And I know that during this time, we need that as much information on that as possible. So just gonna let a couple more people in. Okay. Okay, so I want to let everyone know that this presentation is being recorded, so your beautiful faces will be on our YouTube channel. We are in a meeting format, so you will all be on here. You can find this video and other educational presentations on the YouTube channel on our events and resources playlist. I will send you that link after this presentation. Oh, we got some more people. Little multitasking here. We will also have questions available for you to ask in the chat box. So if you hover down at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you will see some icons at the bottom and you'll see a little chat box. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please put them in the chat box during the presentation. You can put them to everyone, or if you want to be anonymous, you can put them, direct them towards me. And at the end of the presentation, we'll have everybody's beautiful faces up so you can actually raise your hand if you want to ask your question verbally. I will ask if everyone can please keep their audio muted throughout the presentation. And if you have to run around and do something real quick, and we do ask if you can shut your cameras off for that moment because it does get distracting when everybody's on the screen. So without further ado, I'm going to stop my share and I'm going to introduce our speaker. Let me look at all these wonderful little faces over here. All right. So as president and founder of Paton Marketing, Todd Paton exemplifies the spirit of the startup culture in today's fast-moving technology sector. A decade ago, Todd saw the potential of digital marketing and formed his company. Today, he leads an international team of professionals that comprise of one of the country's leading digital marketing firms. Based in Pompano Beach, Paton Marketing develops e-commerce sales initiatives for businesses, creates websites, directs social media and online advertising campaigns, and has a full-service video department. The firm is a member of the Google Elevator Program, an exclusive group of digital agencies which collaborates with search engine giants on ways to bring value to clients worldwide. Todd is a firm believer in giving back to the community and has served in leadership positions with the Boys and Girls Club of Broward County, the Urban League of Broward County, Honor Flight, and many others. He is also writing Online Underdog, a book chronicling his entrepreneurial journey. I know I totally said that wrong, but without further ado, Mr. Todd Paton.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate that introduction. So I'm excited to share my insights and a little bit about what we do and really how you can grow your business with content. That's the whole purpose of this. And my goal over the next hour or so is to just give you so much value and and information that you could literally apply it tonight to your business. So let's get started. So before we do, I want to just give you a brief background about myself, because one of the things with digital marketing and internet marketing is a lot of people get intimidated by it. And because they're intimidated, they don't do a lot of the things, whether it's writing a blog or social media, at being active on social media. They're just intimidated because it is new. It's still fair. This is everything that we're in. We're in an incredible time right now to be a small business owner. I say a small business owner because, the whole presentation is on content, and I'm going to show you some things and ways that you can do it at a very, very low budget, sometimes no cost at all. But that's rare because we've never been at a time like that. But to just give you a little more confidence in what your ability is and where you're at, I had a hard time turning a computer on 10 years ago. I started my company 10 years ago. And of course, starting a digital marketing company or an internet marketing company, you would think you would have to be a techie. I was the farthest thing from a tech person. So hopefully that'll help a little bit with you guys understanding that anybody can do this. If I can do it, anybody can do it. But I was in the real estate and mortgage industry previously, and I did that for about 9 years, and then 2008 came. And we all know what happened in 2008, 2009. I went bankrupt. I lost everything. So I had to basically start over again. And I asked myself, what am I good at? It was marketing. And I said, what's going to keep growing? And it's the internet. The problem is I didn't know anything about the internet. So I took classes, I took webinars like this. I just learned enough to make me dangerous. And I hired good people smarter than me and built a company that today now we have about 70 clients that pay us a retainer to do a lot of the things that I'm going to go over today. That, again, you can do a lot of this stuff on your own, and I encourage you to do it on your own. But so anyway, that's enough about me. Let's get into the workshop. So let's see. All right, let's talk about the evolution of I mentioned earlier, we're in an incredible time right now to be an entrepreneur. We all know that top left picture there, which is the yellow pages. That's how businesses advertise. Not long ago either. Look, really 10 plus years ago, the top there is how companies, now it's big money to put an ad in the yellow pages, a front cover especially. Today it's Google. So, and we're going to talk about ways to position your website and your business and your content on the top of Google. Next slot picture I have there is the billboard. So it amazes me today to drive by and still see people spending tens of thousands of dollars, mostly lawyers, but they're spending so much money on a billboard. And there's so much more cost-effective ways that you can do it. The obvious one below there is Facebook ads. So you can create that same message. In this case, it's McDonald's, which is a $1 billion business, but you can do it for your small company and put it on a Facebook ad and target, be very targeted. The other one is television, TV commercials and getting yourself on, it's big money, production, the cost like that. You can create your own YouTube channel. So, and then the last one is phone, telemarketing, and podcasts are becoming more and more popular every day. Voice is becoming, as simple it is as a search through voice. It's just amazing to look at the top and then the bottom of how we are. If we were starting a business 10, 15 years ago, we had the top to worry about. It's really hard to compete with these McDonald's, bottom sphere. And I'm telling you, it's simple. It's easy to do. Just follow some of the things that I'm going to go over in this presentation and put a strategy together. By the way, at the end of the presentation, if anybody needs help or wants to, talk to me or bounce something up, I'm happy to help you with whatever I can. So anyway, that's the evolution. So ultimately, what do we want to do? We want to become a content company. So whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a builder, whether that you're an AC company, it doesn't matter what you do. Forget about the service that you're in, and focus on being a content company or a media company. So Red Bull is a perfect example of that type of business. Here, think about it. Red Bull has events. They're filming, constantly filming different stuff. They're basically a media company. So if you can now act as if you're a content company, you're going to explode your business. Now we're going to talk about how do you do that, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you look at the stats, the 4 little stats, look at the bottom right. 80% of people appreciate learning about a company through custom content. So 8 out of 10 people want content. They want you to put stuff out there. And by the way, content, and a lot of people think about it, oh, I have to create, I'm not good in front of TV. There's a lot of ways you're going to create content, and we're going to go over that today. All right. So sales and marketing today, there's 2 things that we're going to focus on: a content plan, and then how you monetize it is distribution. So we create content and then we distribute content. All right. So those are the 2 things that we're going to focus on. But before we do anything, a lot of people fail, less specifically small businesses that don't have a huge budget. They fail because they just focus on the distribution. In other words, let's start doing Facebook, or let's start doing Instagram, or let's start doing YouTube ad, whatever it is. And they don't have a content strategy in place. Does somebody have a question? I think I'm hearing somebody talk.
I don't believe so, but Chastity will mute. There's a few people that need to be muted, so we'll mute them.
Please. Yeah, I'm hearing that.
Feedback.
Yeah, I was looking for them. We got them. Just as
Perfect.
a reminder, everyone, please keep yourself muted so we can proceed with the presentation. Thank you.
All right, great. So again, sales and marketing, content strategy, and then distribution. So how do we create content? What types of content do we create? That's what we're going to go over today. And then we're also going to talk about distribution and ways that you can distribute it. So let's get into it. So when somebody starts with us, the first thing we do, and I encourage everybody to do the same thing, is have a BrandStorming meeting. And even if it means that there's only just you that's doing it, that's okay. But what is a BrandStorming meeting for us is we have questions that we ask. We want to understand the personality of the brand. We want to understand what the goals are of the brand, of your business. But also the other thing that we want to do is identify the personas, the buyer personas. Who are we targeting? Because whatever industry you're in, the chances are that it's not just one person you're targeting. There might be multiple different personas. Each one of those buyer personas require different content. So if you're talking to a 15-year-old kid for your brand, you're marketing, let's say you have a product that sells, let's say, energy drinks. Well, your voice is going to be a lot different, your message, than if you were talking to somebody who's my age, you know? So understand who your personas are, and then create a content strategy around those personas. So this is a really important session. We've had some of these last a full day, literally 8 hours. We start in the morning and it goes all day. But the BrandStorming session is really important. And the end of the BrandStorming session, the ultimate goal of it is to create a content strategy. Ultimately, what that is a library full of the content. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to share with you our, and everybody's going to get this slide, by the way, but I'll share with you what we use as our content strategy document. And the reason we created that content strategy document is because so many people have content they don't even know about, or it's just all over the place. They say, yeah, I think I have pictures here and I have videos here. They don't have anything in a spot. So I just made an Excel spreadsheet. It's a very simple, that has links to whether it's Dropbox or Google Drive. It's just a very clean way to put, almost like a library, all your content in one library. So this is very important to start off with this BrandStorming session. So there's 4 types of content that we're going to go into: images, self-explanatory; video, written content; and then audio. audio is basically podcast, you know, but the people might not be good at writing. So let's say you're a one-person business and you can't stand writing. Well, that might mean that's where you have to hire an intern or hire somebody to do that. Ultimately, if you can create all the content yourself, you're going to save a lot of money. And remember, video, 10 years ago, you didn't have the ability to create it yourself. Now, with this, you know, we have the ability to create really great quality video and at no cost. You know, it's done by you. I also have some tools that I'll go over, equipment that you can get very inexpensive to do that. So I'll do that at the end of the presentation. But these are the 4 types of content we're going to go over. So let's talk now about video. So what kind of video? Now there's a lot of different ways that you can create video, but I'm breaking each one of these slides down just to 4 sections of each one. So there's a lot of other ways, but the testimonials are huge. And how do you do a testimonial? Again, grab your cell phone. And now we're in obviously a very unique place right now with everybody being at home, and it's hard to do it, but anybody can do it. I can do a testimonial right now from my laptop. And you know, a lot of people want to give testimonials. They don't even know you want it. So, you know, somebody even like Chastity, at the end of this workshop, Chastity's done a great job of organizing this and putting this together and stuff like that. I would be happy to give her and the chamber a great testimonial. And at the end of this, and I'll do that and send it over. That's content. That's gold content. So testimonials are really important. Everybody should have it. Typically, the old way, and most people still do it, is they have written testimonials. But video blows it away, just because anybody can write and put their name down as Ben or whatever it is. But video, you can't. You just reach out to good clients, vendors, and say, hey, can you give a testimonial, a video testimonial? The one thing I'll give you a tip on the testimonials. Excuse me. Most people like talking about, when they give a testimonial, talking about, you know, Chastity is so great, and you don't want it to be about you being good or nice or anything like that. The testimonial should be about work, and try not to use your name, use your company name instead. Because if it becomes just about you, like I always tell people, don't say, oh, Todd is great to work with, or it just doesn't. I'd rather have it as Paton Marketing. The team at Paton Marketing was great to work with. So I always coach when I give a testimonial in the beginning, just to say, hey, if possible, could you talk about, and sometimes they'll still do it. And you can always edit the testimonial at the end, but testimonials are a really big part of your content strategy. Case studies, another great example. So what we do for case studies is we'll write out a case study, and we'll draft the case study so it's written, and basically it'll start off by what was the challenge that this customer had, and then what after the challenge is, what did we do, what did they hire us to do, and then what were the results. So basically 3 sections of the case study, and then when it's done written, what I'll do is I'll write a script myself or somebody on my team, and we'll write a short script that's about 25 seconds that just recaps that written case study. And then from there, that's the script that I'm going to read basically, but I'm going to have a voice over person do it. So it's more professional, and you can get somebody on Fiverr or something like that for $25, $30. It's very inexpensive, but it really elevates your case study. And now you have a video case study. So it doesn't have to be a person talking. You could still do pictures of their website on a video. You could do pictures of the client themselves, their logo, but have this voiceover reading that case study, that recap. So those are really beneficial. And the more case studies you do, the better it's going to be for your business. FAQs, I want to spend a little time on this because this is ultimately what people are online for. They have questions they need answers to. And who's the best person to answer questions for them? Google, as sad as that sounds. They think Google knows everything, you know, so everybody thinks Google knows everything. So they'll type Google, hey, what's the best Italian restaurant in Boca Raton? What's the best, you know, and we'll just ask Google thinking that Google knows every answer. But there's a book called They Ask You Answer. I strongly encourage everybody to get a copy of that book. And we actually do a book club in our company in Paton, and we're a small team. You can see us there. That's our team right there having one of our Zoom meetings. But you know, we have like a book club, so we all read that book because it's so critical to our overall content model. But let me just give you a brief overview of that book and why it's so important. So the book was written by a guy named Marcus Sheridan, and Marcus had a pool company at the same time that I had that mortgage business that I was telling you about earlier. Well, when the crash happened, we all know what happened to the pool business. No one was spending money on anything, especially on pools, but he was in trouble. So he was losing the business. It was going out, and he went and researched, and he found a website called HubSpot. A lot of you probably heard of HubSpot, and HubSpot said, hey, find out the questions that people have and answer them. That's basically, and he said, that's pretty simple. Well, what were the biggest questions for pool companies? How much does a pool cost? That was a big one. Now, he would never answer that before. Why? Because before he said, I didn't want my competitors to see that you know, what my prices were or how much. I don't want to mention that. So he never answered that. That's a big mistake. Always be transparent and honest and upfront about everything, and you're going to see great results. So that was a big question. Another one was, what's the difference between concrete pools and fiberglass pools? Well, he would never do that before because he sold fiberglass, and concrete pools he'd lose business to other people if he said the wrong answer. They never wanted to talk about that. But if somebody really wants a concrete pool, he's not, you know, he doesn't want to convince them to, he wants to say, hey, here's why the benefits of having a fiberglass pool. So anyway, he started doing this, and he did these in videos, and he did an FAQ following this They Ask You Answer. He found out all the questions that people asked, and he knew them, maybe about 30 of them or so, and then he published them on a blog. And before you know it, they started ranking on the first page of Google. And during the downturn, he became the #1 pool company in the United States. And today, he still has an ownership in it, but he's now a speaker and everything like that. But he used that model of They Ask You Answer. So think about that in your business. Let's say you're a real estate agent, and people ask questions about, and I always tell people this, if I was back into real estate today, this is so important, this video content here. I would even be interviewing people. I would do an FAQ, but I would interview restaurant owners, you know? Again, we're acting like a media company, not a real estate company. A real estate company typically shows houses, but a media company would say, let me bring on a guest here. Let's bring on 3 of the best restaurants and find the chefs at each one of those restaurants, and I'll bring them in and talk about their restaurant. Remember, I'm not selling anything. I'm just giving value. I'm giving content to the people that are looking for it. So FAQs are really, really important for your video strategy. The next is Zoom meetings. So we're recording this, and you better believe I'm going to use this content in our social media. We have somebody who runs our social media, but I'm going to give her. I'm going to give my video team the content, the hour presentation, and they'll cut it up into probably 5 or 6 clips that, of course, we can now reuse. We have every staff meeting. By the way, I'll tell you a funny story about a Zoom meeting. It wasn't a staff meeting. It was, I was asked to be on a committee to help kind of reopen Broward and get Broward back. It was like a marketing committee. So there was about 28 people on this Zoom call, and I had, I'm sitting in the meeting like this, and I had it's almost like a decorative piece of furniture that my wife has. It's a little bench. So, this whole quarantine thing put on about 20 pounds I put on, but I'm sitting in this, on this little decorative thing, and I'm in this meeting, and I heard a little crack, like a snap. And then all of a sudden the thing buckles and I fall from the screen. So talk about humility. I put my hand up in the air and I said, I'm okay. I don't think anybody saw it. I mean, I know somebody must have saw it, but there was 28 people, thankfully. But that stuff, now I didn't own that content, but if I did, you better believe my video team would have had a lot of fun with that. But record these meetings and edit them. You can cut it out with very inexpensive software. But anyway, those are 4 types of videos. So written content. Blog is the obvious. It's the most important. Everybody's got to have a blog. If you don't have one, start blogging at least once a week minimum. But if you can do it more, great. If you can only do it once a month, that's better than not at all. The worst thing that you can do is go to a website and see that they had a blog 2 years ago. I'll never work with somebody like that, because when I see that, I think, well, they're probably not in business, you know? Think about it this way. It's no different than, you know, if you were driving down a street and by the way, there's a lot of comparisons between internet, online, your website, and offline. And I'll give you one as an example, because the way Google, ultimately what we want to do is we want Google to believe that our website is the very best. So they position us high on the search engines. How do we do that? Through content. But Google, and I'll give you a little bit of a SEO overview. Search engine optimization, which is putting your website on the first page of Google, has 2 elements to it. It has on page, which is on your website, and it has off page, which is off your website. So on your website would be a blog. Under it is guest blogging. That's off your website. You're a guest of another blog. So if your blog is updated all the time regularly, and by the way, you're answering questions that people have, just like that example I gave of they ask, you answer, Google's going to position your website higher related to that search term, because you're a valuable resource. Remember, how does Google make money? They make money on ads. Well, if people aren't using that search engine, no one's going to be spending money with Google. So Google's got to make sure the user experience is perfect. And to do that, if somebody's searching for, let's say somebody here owns an AC company, an AC repair company, and I search for AC repair, and I pull up Google, and it's got an auto body shop, and it's got, I'm never going to use Google again because it doesn't give me good results. So Google wants to make sure the results are really good quality websites, and they solve the problem. So to do that, on page, which is on your website, and off page, which is third-party websites. And I'll get into that a little bit more, because by the way, all this that we're talking about now ultimately ties into SEO and ranking on Google and, you know, social media. It's everything, because everything's related to content. So the blog that you're posting should be current. It should be relevant. And let me give you that comparison again about the driving down. If you're driving down Federal Highway and you see a car dealership and a car is for sale, and you look at it and say, what, that's got a lot of dust on it, that car. And geez, what, that's a 1998, that's their new car. So they've never updated it. They've never updated their inventory. So you're never going to drive to that thing. You want to see the latest and greatest, what's new. So your website's no different. So look at it like window shopping. You come to your website, do you have relevant content? So here's on the right, I have an example of, we had how to get more organic traffic on my e-commerce website. So we're working a lot on e-commerce now. And, you know, so it's relevant to a search term that people on e-commerce, right? So that now is ranking on page 1. And by the way, the beauty of content is it never expires. It never gets old. So some of the best performing blogs that I have were done 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they're getting traffic today still. So look at your blog as your salesperson that never sleeps. It's open 24/7, and it's always going to be for anybody who's searching for content. So blog is critical. And again, use the model of they ask, you answer to identify what do you blog about? Because that's always a question people have is, how do I know what to blog about? So the great thing about Google is everything is saved. Every search that people do is saved. So whatever industry you're in, that search that people are searching for to find you or to find your competitors, you can find out how they're searching. Are they using Spanish as their language. Well, that'll change your marketing strategy because you got to make sure your website's written in Spanish. Or are they asking questions? By the way, right now you're going to find out people are searching on Google by questions. They're saying, what's the best real estate agent that understands waterfront property? And that's a sentence. And then they'll look and Google will pull up the most relevant sites based on that. So we need to know, you need to know, how are people searching? So all that stuff's available online, research. And by the way, we'll have questions at the end. So if you have questions, you can either put them in the comments, and maybe, you know what, I don't know, are there any questions yet so far, Chastity?
No, not yet. Just, this is really good and good content.
Awesome, awesome. If there is, and I tend to keep talking and talking and talking, but I'll break and then see if there's any questions along, and you guys can just chat, type them in. But at the end, like I said, I'll be happy to go over whatever. But let me explain what guest blogging is, because this is a very powerful tool that you guys can do, and it costs nothing, zero. So the blog I mentioned is on your website, and you have to have a blog strategy. If you can't, by the way, the ideal blog size should be 1,000 words minimum. So that's just for search engines. It'll help the search engines. So guest blogging is different. Guest blogging is when you have your, when we get to the end, I'll bring this back up because it'll
Broke up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, your audio broke up a little bit.
Okay, so I'll repeat what I was just saying. So your blog is critical for that reason, but you want to have a minimum of 1,000 words on your blog because Google really values the content. And if you only have 200 words or something, so on your blog, minimum 1,000. Guest blogging is a little different. So remember what I talked about, on page and off page, right? So on page is on your website. So let's talk about some things that have to do with on page. The number one thing is your blog. The number 2, 3, 4, all the other, everything else after your blog is domain name. How old is your domain? The website speed is critical. The content, is there enough, do you have enough content? Is there just one page or 2 pages? So, you know, these are all important. But off page is third-party sites that link back to your site. So let me give you an example. The chambers, this is why I'm such a big fan of chambers, and you guys have an amazing one here with the Boca Chamber. But if you guys have a business on Boca Chamber's website, so let's say it's I don't know the term that you guys have, what it's called, but let's say it's under resources or members, it's probably under. So if I go down and I wanted to click on it, I click, and then it would take me to that person's website. So remember I told you earlier about the example I gave about the car driving on Federal, and there's the used car dealership, the new car dealership, and there was an old dealership. It's no different with this. So guest blogging, let's think about this. So let's see, how am I going to word this without, I don't want to get too technical on this, but on off page, it's a referral. It's like a referral offline. So let's just say that right now I get a referral from one of you. You guys get done with this and you love it, and you called a friend and said, "Hey, I got this guy who really understands content. He has a video team. He'd be a great referral." That's the best kind of business you can get. It's better than any internet. It's better than anything because it's a referral. You know, you referring me to somebody else that you trust you. Well, on the internet, it's no different. So guest blogging, and think about how this works. If Google values your website on page, we talked about on page, by the content you put of your blog, how do they blog off page? Well, they do it based on referrals. So if you're on a website like the Boca Chamber, and the Boca Chamber is saying, "Hey, here's a link to ABC Plumbing," and you look at that and say, Google's going to say, "Wait a second, why would the chamber take the risk of having their visitors leave their site to go to this ABC Plumbing? That must be a valuable website," just like a referral. So that's called a backlink or a hyperlink. That's what guest blogging is. And I'll go into a little bit more of a detail on that. But look at it like and I'll give you another example. Let's say the Sun Sentinel. Actually, we just got, I'll tell you a real life example that because I think I have it as an example. So we just got, we were hired by a country club in South Florida to help them, almost like it was like a political kind of campaign. They needed to do video. They needed to persuade the voters, the homeowners, to vote a certain way. So they hired us and we did this thing and they ended up getting it. So we submitted that content off page to a third party and a newspaper picked it up. They said, we like this article, can we write it? So they submitted it. Now online, if you go to that newspaper and you read that article that they posted, again, it's written by me, by our PR guy. If you read that, there's a link inside of that. And if you click it, it says Paton Marketing. If you click it, you leave that website, which is the newspaper, and you come to Paton's website. That's gold with Google. It's a referral. Google's saying, why would that newspaper, just like if it was the Sun Sentinel or the USA Today, now the more valuable that newspaper is, if it's the New York Times, whatever high value website it is, then it's going to have more value, which means you're going to move up the search engines even more. So guest blogging, now let's talk, it's going to be really hard to get in the USA Today, and we can't count that as a strategy when it comes to marketing, but you can all do guest blogging right away. So let me explain how it works. So I think everybody understands the overall thing of the referral. And all you're doing is trying to get a link from that back to your site. So you know what, why don't we have somebody tell me a business? If you can give me maybe a business, that way I can, instead of making up names, I can actually, can somebody, or maybe Chastity, if you can just give me like a company name. Oh, hello?
I think she's muted.
Sorry.
Oh, no problem.
I'm gonna unmute her.
So anybody can give me any name.
Amy, can you hear us?
Oh, yeah, sorry. Amy Zach, company is Unique Gifts and Premiums.
What's the company name?
Unique Gifts and Premiums.
So Unique Gifts and Premiums. So are you do like promotional gifts?
Yes.
Awesome, thanks, Amy. So is it okay if I use yours then as an example?
Sure, no problem.
So it's unique. So Amy's business, which it's unique, it's called Unique, and her business is about promotional items. So let's think about who would be not a competitor, because we don't want to go to another promotional item, but who would be in a similar type industry that she's in, and but what would that be? So let's think about it. So it could be a let's see, an event company, because they do events. So that would be a good referral type. It's more like it's a comparable industry that, and you'll see kind of how it all comes together. But let's use an event company. So, or a PR firm. Let's use a PR firm. A PR firm that does the events, just for this conversation. And by the way, there might be a lot of different ones, and this, I'm thinking of this on the fly, but so Amy's business is unique, and it's her ideal referral source, let's say, would be this PR firm, or not necessarily referral source, that's not the right word. It's more of a comparable type industry. It's not gonna be a competitor, a direct competitor, but a comparable. So that PR firm / event company has a blog, and we find, and by the way, there's thousands of them out there that have a following, and they blog, they write content. Call them influencers, not like you're thinking like a Kim Kardashian influencer, not that. This is a business influencer that writes good content and that has a following. Might have 1,000 people that follow it, might have 10,000. We reach out to those people, and there's very easy to find them online, but you find them, and then you say, hey, I have a great piece of content, and Amy's talking now. I have a great piece of content, and it's a video, or it's a blog, or it's an article. It could be any of our pieces of content we have, a press release, but it's a great piece of content on how to find the best gifts, how to identify the best gifts for your corporate event, your next corporate event, whatever it is. I'm just making it up. Well, if that person, and by the way, that person can say no, and they do say no, that's okay. But you're going to get a lot of people that say yes, because those bloggers are looking for content. And if it's free, if they don't have to pay for it, and you're supplying it to them, you're golden. So you're going to get a lot of no's, but you're going to get a lot of yeses. And if the content's good, you're going to get a lot more yeses. So let's say that Amy makes a video on, she followed the advice of the last slide on they ask, you answer, and she realized that a lot of she targets corporations, and she realized a lot of corporations are trying to find out creative ways and cost-effective ways to gift items to the attendees. So she made a video on this, and her video, explains, hey guys, it's Amy, and I get a lot of questions around this. What's the most cost-effective way to meet me? Well, here's my solution. And she makes a video. It's a 1-minute video. Well, Amy now submits that to this guest, as a guest blogger, to this blog, who's this PR event company. They accept it. It now gets posted on their website. Now they could be, by the way, Amy's business is.
You broke up again.
Oh, sorry guys. This company could be anywhere. It could be in Iowa, it could be anywhere. It doesn't matter where it's at, because again, we're not doing it just to get business from that person. And Amy's business is, I imagine, national, maybe international. But even if you have a local business, just local, you could still find a blogger to be a guest blogger from somebody in New York. It doesn't matter. The goal is that we're building that link with the content we have that drives people back to our website. And it's almost like a little alert that goes off. When they see that there's a link in that content, Google's gonna position you higher. The more valuable that referring website is, the higher you're gonna go. So as I said, if it's the New York Times, boom, we're gonna move faster up the search engines. So that's what guest blogging is. So again, I don't want to jump ahead. I'd rather focus on, let's just, for this purpose, for this presentation, if we can all leave this meeting and you guys can say, all right, I'm creating a content plan, then this was a win. That's it. But I just wanted to show you this, is because once you have that content, how you monetize it is actually the fun part. But I don't want to jump ahead too far. I just wanted to explain that. So guest blogging is one. Articles, writing articles, and I'll talk about where you distribute those towards the end, and then press releases. Press releases, a lot of people say, well, why would I do a press release? Right now, this is the best time to do a press release. Press releases are not just to get picked up in newspapers and by the media, because it's really hard to have a news story written. And I want you to write press releases all the time. So what could you write a press release on? Let's say you hire somebody new right now. This is a time where people are losing so many people are losing jobs, and you're hiring somebody. So let's say Amy at Unique just hired a new employee. That's a story. You wouldn't think that, but write a press release on that. And why are we doing that? Again, not to get in the Sun Sentinel or to get in that. That's not why we're doing it. We're just getting a link that now has, again, a backlink, which is great. When I'll talk about where we're going to submit those you don't guest blog on a press release, because that's selling. Remember, let me tell the difference. Guest blogging is zero selling. You're not selling at all. And press release isn't selling. It's just informative of what you've done, things you've done. So you've got a new office, you've hired somebody. It could be anything that somebody on your staff got a certificate or something in your work that you got a new supplier, whatever it is, that's all press release. And that's an opportunity to create content. All right. So that's written. Now, images. So meet the team, headshots. Now doing a team video, image picture is great, but it's hard to get everybody together now. And we don't want to take pictures, you probably don't want to take pictures with everybody with a mask on. I don't think that's going to be the best look on your website, but individual headshots, perfect. Office pictures, if you have a home office, that's perfect. That's great. And product images. So e-commerce, I have an example there. Charity work, what do you do? A lot of us give back to the community. That's important. So take pictures, you know. Again, this doesn't cost money. The only thing I would say you want to spend money on potentially is the headshots. But the other ones, you know, you can use your cell phone. So anyway, that's images. And then audio. The audio is pretty simple. It's just a podcast. But I will say this. Some people say, I don't want to create a podcast. It's too much work or it's too this. But if you're doing, right now, we're creating audio, right? Because we're filming, we're videotaping this. I can pull the audio out of this. Well, think about this. There's 4 types of content I can create for this. I'm going to show you the 4th right now. Hold on. Okay. I just took a picture of that. So there's one image. I could also take a screenshot of whatever. And I took one earlier of, which let me show you what I did. So I took that screenshot, which basically was just the intro, but that's an image now I can use. So that's one. Then we're doing this content. We're creating content right now. So I'm creating this content. So I have a video, which Chastity is going to supply me. So that's one. Then I have audio. All I have to do is pull the audio off of this, and now I have a podcast, right? You don't have to, I'm still recording my voice. So that's why then I could take the transcript of everything we're talking about, and I can transcribe that to written. So now I have written, audio, images, and I just took a picture. So I have 4 of the types of content that didn't require me to do 4 different activities. So recycle your content. It's very easy to do, and you'll get all the benefits out of it. Okay, so let me pause to see if we have any questions yet.
No questions yet.
Nothing. Wow. All right.
Absorbing information.
Okay, good. Well, I hope you guys have a lot of questions at the end, but let's go over the distribution. So actually, before I go to this, let me show you this. So our content strategy looks like this, right? We have video, written, images, audio. Now, I have next to it leader. This is for a client of ours. But we have next to it leader. Who's the leader of that? This is really important. Who's going to take ownership in that content? So if you're a one-person company, it's just you, maybe. Or maybe you don't like writing, so your leader might be an intern, you know, and whoever that intern is. Let me explain how we use this and why it's so important. So once you've laid out your content strategy, well, remember, first step 1 is you have your brainstorming session. You understand who your buyer personas are, who you're targeting, what you're going to do. Now you create your content strategy. And again, a lot of people are already doing this. They're just scattered all over. It's not structured. It's not organized. And this is going to make it really, really easy to distribute when you have this. So the video section, what I do is I have MediRobe. This is a robe company that we work with. They sell like fabric. So this company, if I click on this, because on Excel spreadsheets, you know, you can add a link to it. I just have this link to a dedicated Dropbox or a Google Drive, and it's got all the content in it, inside of it. So MediRobe, I click on it, and there's the content. Same with all these. So basically, it's got all the video. In this case, video, it might even be a YouTube channel that it links to, or you know, but you want access to all this content in one spot. So just look at it like it's a library of content. So let's talk now about the distribution. So there's 2 types of way that you can distribute content. You could pay, or you can do organic or free. So SEO is an example of free distribution. Doesn't cost money. Paid is an example of AdWords or Facebook ads or things like that. So once you have the content strategy laid out, and you understand all your content you have, where do you distribute it? Well, I mentioned the blog is free, and that's your gold mine. That's the best you can do because it's going to help your website rank. It's going to generate leads, but it's a marathon. If you look at the right side, that's a sprint. If you look at the left, that's a marathon. It's a long play. It takes a long time, but you're going to do really well over time, and you're going to get the best return on your investment on the free distribution. But the paid generates leads right out of the gate. So when you have good content, you go to the paid, it generates those leads. So free distributions, blog, social media, obviously just posting it organically, guest blogging, I talked about that, email marketing, very, very cost effective. There's a website called medium.com, and it's where you could submit your articles and you become the author. And then there's e-zine articles. So it's like a article submission. It's a free submission thing. So I want to explain why we're using those bottom two. So the top four are really your platforms. You know, your blog is your website, social media, your social media sites, guest blogs are third party, I'm sorry. Email is going to be yours. So those are all things that you control. Medium, guest blogging, and the e-zine articles are third party. Now, why would you want to do that and why it's so important? I mentioned the backlink, which helps you, but there's another factor of why this is so important. When you create that link and you have that third-party link, what you're doing is you're putting more real estate online. So ultimately, if you Google your company name, you want to have not just your website come up, you want to have the press release that you wrote about your new hire. You want to have the video you did on the case study. You want to have the video you did on the testimony. You just want all content, page after page after page of content. And the only way that can happen is if you use this distribution, if you distribute the content you have. If you just let it sit on your website or on your blog, that's the only place it's going to be. But if you get it published on these third-party sites like Medium and which, by the way, they're free, then it's going to create this link. And that link will get picked up by the search engines, especially when you search your name. So that's the free distribution. And then the paid distribution that's how you generate leads right out of the gate. So if people start this way too soon. They start it without having a content plan. They just start boosting posts and it doesn't work. And it might work short term, but that's even more dangerous. But if you go through the process of BrandStorming, identifying your buyer personas, know who we're talking to, know what language we're going to speak, identify that. Then after that's done, now we create our content plan and you lay out all the content that you have on that document, on that sheet that I shared with you. And then from there, now you start distributing the content. And by the way, you can do all of these yourself, or you can hire somebody to do it. But LinkedIn, we're seeing a lot of success with our clients on LinkedIn ads. Facebook ads is obviously good. The price has gone up a lot from what it was, but it's still good. Instagram, good. YouTube is very good value right now. So LinkedIn and YouTube ads are really good value if you have good video for YouTube. PR web. So let's say you write a press release and you submit it to so you write a press release on let's say it's a blog that you have, but it's on your new hires that you just hired, 2 new hires during the pandemic. Well, you can go to PR web and spend, I think it's like $350 or something, but it's valuable because what they do is they send it out and they get multiple of those links that I was talking about, those backlinks. So it really helps your SEO because you're getting not just one, but you're getting multiple links. And the other thing it does, as I mentioned, is it's real estate. You're going to see those links popping up when you search. So the term for that is reputation management. You know, I call it reputation creation because we're actually creating your reputation online through this distribution. And then Quora ads is a really good website. So it's like a Q&A type website. It has questions, it answers questions, and you can put ads in there. So we're finding a lot of success on those. The key on the paid distribution is you know, finding what's hot at the right time, because things come up. And, you know, also you have to know your audience. Again, going back to the beginning, your buyer persona, to know where they are. So if your buyer persona comes back and it's age, you know, 55 to 80 is the target you're going after, well, Instagram's not going to be on that platform. It's not going to be a strategy. Facebook probably will. LinkedIn probably will. So you just have to know who your buyer is. So there's no in the box. Everybody's going to be custom for that. I do want to tell you a case study. This is a really awesome story. So this is a gym. For those of you guys who don't know, Johnny O's gym. In full transparency, Johnny O is a friend of mine, also a client of mine. But I'm really proud of this guy and the company that he's built, because he started this. This has been his lifelong dream to build this gym. And he invested a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of resources on building Johnny O's gym right in Boca. And by the way, he's a member of the Boca Chamber. But he did this, and he started it literally a month before the pandemic hit us. So I think he was in January or February is when he opened. And then this all happened. So it was really hard to see that happen, because he just, you know how it is. We're all small business owners. We put everything we have into this, and he's turned it into a positive. And how he's done it is he's become a media company. He's created content. Now, he did hire us to do video in the beginning of his things, but what he's doing, and by the way, his video is better than ours, and I'll tell you why. It's real. He's posting videos every day. He's doing interviews. He's doing, it's just amazing to see. He had an NFL football player in the other day, but every day there's a different interview. So it's almost like he's a talk show host interviewing people, and it's just great to see, because he's creating this content, you know. And by the way, when you could start getting your either clients or vendors or anybody else to start creating the content for you, then it becomes really good, because now you're not only not paying for it, but they're doing all the work. So, you know, you're having it. So he's doing a really good job. I encourage you guys to check out that gym, and also check out his social media and see what they're doing, because they're doing a great job of doing that. But anyway, that's the presentation I have now, and I appreciate it. I know I talked a lot, as I didn't get to hear a lot of questions or anything, so I'd love to have some dialogue back and forth. But before I do that, before I open it up to that, actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do that, and then I can say, Chastity, anything you want to cover?
Yeah, I'm gonna do a stop share of your screen so that we can get everybody up on here and everybody can see you guys.
All right.
And so we have a couple of questions, and then if anybody has any questions that they would like to vocalize, just raise your hand and we can unmute you, and you can turn on your camera and you can ask Todd all the questions you want. First of all, Paul said, "You are too thorough." He said when it came to asking questions, he was like, I guess he didn't have any because you went over everything. Mindy Strum says, what is the best way to refer others to positive feedback referrals on someone else's website, i.e. Thumbtack?
So the question is, can you repeat the beginning of it again?
Yes. What is the best way to refer others to positive feedback referrals on someone else's website, i.e. Thumbtack? Let me see if I see Mindy on here.
Hi, I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
So thank you. I have a lot of referrals, positive feedback that I've gotten through Thumbtack. Are you're familiar with Thumbtack?
Yep.
Okay, so I have a lot of great feedback there. What is the most efficient, best way to refer people there to say, look at all the feedback I've received from previous clients?
So there's a few things, and I don't know if Thumbtack has the API to do this, but a lot of times what we'll do is we'll add on the website, on their homepage, we'll put an API feed to have your reviews on your website. There's a there's a pro and minus. In other words, and I don't
I'm
know
sorry,
if-
you just spoke Chinese to me. I'm not techie. Can you,
Oh, okay, no
can you
problem.
dumb it down
So-
just a little? Thank you.
No problem, no problem. So every website has a code, and in this case, Thumbtack has a code to allow people access to certain pages on their website. So I'll give you an example of this without getting technical. So
Okay.
if you go to some websites, you might go down and you might see live feeds from Instagram of people posting like from their Instagram, but it's on their website. In other words, it's not their Instagram page, it's just the posts are getting updated on their website, you know?
Okay,
You follow me?
yes.
Okay, so what that is that's using the API or the code from Instagram so it feeds directly onto your website. I'm not saying that Thumbtack has that ability. They probably do, but I would reach out to Thumbtack to see if you can have that. So in other words, all your posts get updated on your website. So people can see those on your website. They could see all your 5-star reviews or.
Okay, so the proper question for Thumbtack is, what is the API code that I can use on my website?
Well, I wouldn't say, you can even ask them, say, hey, I want to put all the posts live on my website as they happen. Do you have a code? You can say API, do you have a code that I can use to, in other words, can I make that, is that possible? It might not be,
Okay.
but if it isn't, what I would do is I would still take a screenshot of those and I'd put those on your website so you could see what they are, you know what I mean? So there's a way that you could show off those reviews,
Okay, I have been taking pictures and posting, but it's really not very professional. I don't think it's not very, clear cut. It looks like someone took a picture and posted it, which is exactly.
When you say took a picture, what do you mean? Like an actual
of
picture?
the actual feedback of a
When you
few.
say a picture, are you taking a picture with your phone?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you'll do is, have you ever heard of Paint? On what kind of computer do you use?
An HP.
Okay, so if you go
Laptop.
on the bottom left side, if you go to type search and you
Right.
type Paint,
Right.
right? What
Right.
that does is you take a screenshot. Don't take a picture with your phone. Take a screenshot, like a print screen, of your, and then go to Paint. And then what you'll do is post it on Paint, and then just it's really easy to do.
I understand. I got you. I understand.
Yeah, and then then you'll have an actual image, a real image. It'll look like, and you can even dress it up with a nice, put your logo on it, and you can make it look really good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Minnie, for your question. Karen Lawrence actually has a question, but she's on screen. Karen, do you want to unmute yourself and ask your question, or I can ask it for you?
No, I can come on. I'm on. Yes, you were talking about the articles, writing the articles and sending them to that website or HHTP, the one that you put out. I copied that down. After you send them the articles, what do they do with them? Where does it go?
So you don't give them, you actually post it on that website. Are you talking about the e-zine?
Yes, that one.
Yeah. And by the way, that was just one, because I didn't want to there's literally hundreds of those types of websites, but that's one of the more popular ones that we use. And I didn't want to complicate things by putting everyone on there. So I just put, one link, but yeah, so what you do is you go there, create an account with them, and then you are the author. So basically you're submitting your content. So just like you would attach in an email, you would attach this to that, and then you would, and once you hit post, it's now active.
Okay, who sees it? How does it get seen?
So anybody who goes to that website, and they have a lot of traffic. So what I do is I try to find websites that have high value, meaning a lot of visitors, a lot of users that are on their site. You're not going to most likely going to get business from that. In other words, people aren't going to go on that website to look for an article that you've written and hire you, although that's happened many times. You're doing it, and I want you to understand this. You're doing it just to build the value in Google's eyes, because when Google sees that you have that content posted on this third-party site with you as the author, Google sees you or your company as the authority.
Okay. because I'm a real estate agent, but I do talk about several different topics such as credit scores and
Good.
you don't need 10%, you don't need 20% down, let's say, just to give you a couple of examples. So this is the kind of thing that I have, and I've written several articles, so I could use them, post them, and just get my out there, because I am branding also too.
So what I would do, Karen, if I were you in real estate, I think this is an amazing opportunity for real estate agents to, again, bring value, is find out what, and you know that, how long have you been a real estate agent?
Well, 5 years in Florida, 20 years altogether.
Okay, so you know the business, you understand what people are looking for and stuff. So, and you do residential?
Yes.
Okay, so I talked about it earlier, but now obviously it's a tough time to be going out to restaurants and doing interviews and stuff like that.
Yes.
But you can set up and master this, you know, these Zoom meetings to where you have a screen, you can brand it with yours and everything, and bring on these experts that people. Here's what that's going to do, Karen. It'll do two things.
Yes.
Number one, it's going to have you as a media company, which is all we're talking about today. You're going to start giving value, whether it's, you mentioned credit scores. So instead of you talking about the credit scores, you just interview. You almost like you're a DJ, right? A DJ
Yes.
plays music. DJ doesn't sing songs. DJ just plays the music and they pick the best songs. You're DJing and you're answering questions from authority. But here's the second thing it does. It puts you in front of that person as the authority, as the expert. So if, I'll give you an example. If I'm a chef, if I own a restaurant in Deerfield and I get a phone call from Karen and Karen says, hey, how you doing, chef? Listen, I've never had the opportunity to be your rep, but a lot of my friends have gone. I've heard great things about your restaurant. I'm a real estate agent specializing in Deerfield Beach waterfront property. I would love to have an opportunity to do a 5 to 10 minute Zoom call with you to talk about your restaurant. What do you think I'm going to say? I'm going to say, absolutely. You know, that's free advertising for me. I'll say, absolutely,
Right.
Karen. So we set that up now. And guess what, Karen? I start building a relationship with you on that call. And by the way, when restaurants open up, which they're going to open up again, and people are going to be packed, who am I going to refer business to when somebody says, hey, I'm here visiting, and I went, oh, if you need a realtor, Karen's. So it's just, you're a media company, that model of being a media company, and it doesn't just go with restaurants, it's for everything. You could do, I mentioned Johnny O's gym. You could do the gyms, the top 3 gyms in Deerfield Beach, you know, or in Boca, wherever.
Todd, after I've done this Zoom, how do I put the Zoom meeting out there? How do I put this interview out there? Where does it go? How do I get, because my problem is basically driving traffic to all of the things I have, the website.
No, it's a great question. And it's what I talked about earlier, is that most people, they have the content, they don't even know they have it. So that example would be, but first thing is you have to have that library so you know where it is. So going back to the library, it would say video. Under that, it would say chef interviews, or whatever, restaurant interviews, whatever we want to call it. And then when I click on that, it'll have you interviewing all the restaurants that you interviewed, so you can have access to it. Now, what you do is you would need to edit it a little bit because you want to clean it up and make it short, but that's something you could do. You might have to watch a couple of videos on YouTube, but
Yes.
That's easy to do. It's not advanced editing, but now you have that piece of content. So the question is, how do you distribute it? Remember we talked about the distribution part,
Yes.
which is you could be a guest blogger. So let's say that, here's a perfect one. Let's say a lot of people are moving from New York down to South Florida. So you might want to reach out to somebody in New York that's got a big blog that focuses on maybe a moving company that has a blog, right? Or maybe, remember I told you a similar industry, but not competitor. Well, maybe a financial advisor, maybe a CPA would be good, but they have to have a following online and they have to have a blog, they have to be active. But you then can, and that doesn't cost any money, that's free. That's the term guest blogging that I talked about, right?
Right.
But then you could also say, you know what? Let me put $50 on promoting this content. And then you take that video and you target the specific people who are your buyer persona with that content.
And how do you specifically get to that particular group of people that I'm looking for?
So Yeah, so if you go on any of the sites that I've mentioned and you'll see it on the PowerPoint, but you know, Facebook and Instagram and all these social media sites, let's all think about what the social media sites are. We know everybody's spending so much time, especially now, on it, but think about how smart these businesses are. They collect every bit of data that you have. So in order to become a member, it's free, but you have all this information that you're giving, and then they're now selling that information to advertisers, right? So
Right.
if I want to know who's 50 years old, and by the way, because there's a like button and there's a heart button and there's a share button on those, well, now you know who likes who likes waterfront properties, who likes, you know, and you're able to get so much data that you can target specifically through these social media platforms. That content, you can put it in front of them.
Thank you very much. Very
You're
helpful.
welcome. You're welcome.
Okay, Tina, you have a question. Tina Valant, you have a question. Unmute yourself.
Good morning. I have two dogs fighting over a bone. Todd, how do you feel about my quarantine saving grace of TikTok? Because I've been getting a lot of traction there and a lot of international new views.
So I would not be the one to answer this. I don't, for the record, I don't run my company's social media. I hired somebody who's a lot smarter than me and a lot younger than me who really understands the social. But so we're not doing a lot with TikTok personally as a company because, and again, it depends what vertical you're in and who you're targeting. But we don't, I don't think we're running any ads around or any campaigns around TikTok. We mostly work with architects, lawyers, you know, we're a lot of professional services. We've just recently got into the product thing, but as it relates to TikTok, I'm not the one to, other than my 10-year-old daughter had tried to get me to do a TikTok dance with her. I said, no, not happening.
It's changed a lot. They've really converted over more to an educational platform.
Really?
And there are attorneys, accountants, there are a lot of people, and it's nice, biteable, 1-minute chunks of content. So I've made a lot of great connections.
That's awesome. What do you do, Tina?
I'm a professional photographer.
Oh, awesome. That's great. Yeah, so you're under your side, which is under the images, obviously that's huge, you know, and the branding of getting your product out there, you know, submitting, I mean, you're in a great, and then when you do photography, are you also filming video?
I do a lot. I'm a big live streamer. I've been on Periscope from the beginning, so.
Oh, good.
No problem on either side.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was lucky when so a little background on our company, we started out just doing SEO. And about 3 years ago, I saw this content, the need for content. So I built a video team. We have a 3-person video team that just goes out and films. And now, because where we're at since quarantine, we actually have people sending products to us. So we've got a lot of e-commerce, but they're shipping products, and we're creating short videos we set up studio at home at all 3 of our video team. But we just built our social media team about a year ago, and we just have 1 person running our social media team, but we're really a content creation team. We create content. So we have video, photography, we have, you know, and then SEO is our core business.
Awesome, thank you. Paul, I see that you have 2 video and audios here. So Paul, unmute yourself to ask your question regarding blogging. There you go. Your audio is not, we can't hear you. You're breaking up. Your audio is still bad, so I'm gonna ask Paul's question.
You can type it.
Yeah, he was asking, hold on, 'cause I think Paul had this problem before at another Zoom meeting that he was in. I feel terrible. So his question is, are these ideas like guest blogging synonymous with backlinks?
Yes.
He's having a little trouble. This happened the last time.
So Yeah, so I'll answer that.
Yeah, you can go ahead because for some reason,
Okay.
his audio just lingers even though he's on mute. I don't know why that happened.
No problem. So yeah, so the goal of guest blogging, the ultimate goal is, again, it's not to get business from that, although that would be great, and we've had that happen. But the real goal is that we have to, so if I write a really good article, and let's say it's on, well, let's say it's just the one we just did that we got published. This story just happened and it just got published in a newspaper. But that was on how to use video to tell a story, basically, is what it was. And what I did is I told a case study of what we did and how we did it. Now I submitted it and it got accepted, and now we're getting, the link is there. But if I didn't put the URL somewhere on that of where I want to build the value, because remember, these backlinks are what the more valuable the backlink, the more valuable the referring site, the higher you're going to go up. So I'll give you an example of what bad SEO looks like. And it's dangerous. This can be really horrible. And we see it all the time, unfortunately. When we take on a new client, we do a full audit of their websites and their SEO to see how it's done before. And a lot of times you would see a guest blog. I'll give you an example. Let's say it's a company who does a pizza place, let's say. So they sell pizzas and they want to do SEO for local SEO, obviously. But I look at their SEO, what they did before, and there's backlinks to that had, let's see, like a auto body shop linking back. That has nothing to do with a pizza place, So Google's going to actually penalize you when you don't have that correct referring link, So you want to make sure it's in the right space, if that makes sense.
Thank you. And we have a couple minutes left. Dave actually has a question.
Good morning, Todd. Dave, how are you?
Hey, Dave, my man. How you doing?
Dave, can you lower your speaker just a little bit? We got a little bit of speaker feedback. We can hear Todd through your speaker.
That's not good.
Sorry, little tech issues.
That's because I walk all over the room from my computer. Is that any better?
Yes.
All right. I actually have, it's an ethical question, Todd. And there's a right and a wrong, and then often there's the gap between theory and practice. But with regard to videos, whether it's a Zoom meeting or any video, what's the appropriate response? You let somebody know, hey, look, I'm recording this conversation, and are you concerned at all about any feedback? Even if you're using it to promote that individual, there could be some, an ethical line that you passed, or even a legal line that you passed. Can you talk about what we should be doing as we try to create video content, as far as letting people know, hey, by the way, I'm recording this?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you two answers to that, because one was which we'll get back to that, pre-corona. And what we did is we had a form. It's a simple authorization that anytime we were filming something, we would just have the people create it. So whether I'm interviewing, if you're doing an FAQ where I went to a restaurant and anybody who was in that video, I just had them sign it just so I have record and I'm covered in case anything happens. That would be free. Now, Chastity did a perfect job of it. In the beginning, you got to just mention, hey, we're recording this. If anybody doesn't want to be recorded, just let me know and we'll exclude you. We won't include you. So I just make the announcement. So those are the two elements of what I do. But we actually had a form because we did so much video offsite that we would have people fill.
So that's news to me. If I can follow. So if I'm hosting a Zoom meeting and I have 25 people in there and 2 of them don't want to be recorded, I can exclude them from the recording?
Well, they can take their pictures off, they could take, if they don't want to be on camera, then they would just, but editing wise, of course you could do, I could edit with a circle around my head, blacked out,
Right.
But
this is probably a good look. It's a good look for you, but
yeah, I got to show this hair off, man. But Dave, you know, I think if you make the announcement and somebody doesn't want to be on camera, but they know you're recording it, they would just take their camera off, you know? But one thing I want to talk about really quick, if it's okay, Chastity, to go over, because it's with video, it's powerful. It's called interactive videos. We're doing a lot of these right now, and we could actually take an old video that you have and make it interactive. But what interactive videos are is when you're watching a video, mostly on your cell phone, I can actually click on it directly. So let's say I'm watching a video of Karen Lawrence, and Karen is basically, let's say she's interviewing a chef, you know, whatever example we gave. If I'm watching that interview and at the end it says, learn more about properties Karen has available, I can click on that and I can either call Karen directly. In other words, I don't have to leave the video. Everything is done directly on the video. It's interactive. So it makes you engage. And we do these all the time. I mean, every day somebody on our team is using interactive videos, even from emails. We send emails out and it says, hey, to book an appointment. So I'm talking now, hey, to book an appointment, click right here, you know, click there. And then you click there and it goes right to my calendar from the video, and you can, so it's really a powerful tool. The term is interactive videos.
Dave, I had a quick comment for you as far as the Zoom videos. If someone in your attendee list says, hey Dave, I don't want to be on, if you can see my screen right now, there's a few of us that are on video, and then there's those who chose not to be on video, but their names are still shown. There's an option in Zoom that says hide non-video participants. And the only ones that will be up there would be just, you know, me, you, Dave, Mindy, and Sandra, who have our active videos.
Yeah, if they don't want their name or anything, yeah, that's a good point.
Yes. Yeah. And then Karen, I know you had also asked, well, Todd gave some great tips on interviewing via Zoom, whether it be a restaurant or any local fun business for you to help sell that area. In Zoom, you just have to hit the recording and you just go away with your interview, do your recording. At the end of the Zoom meeting, Zoom actually has this window that pops up and says, where do you want to save your recording? And you can save that recording in any folder that you like, and then get a YouTube channel. It's free. Upload those YouTube videos up there, and then you have the ability to share those YouTube videos on any social media platform. So that's super easy. Just make sure that if you guys are creating all this fun content with videos and putting them on social media, and you're taking all these tips and tricks that Todd has offered to you, tag the chamber, because we'll share them.
Yeah.
Oh, include you. Okay.
Yeah. You can tag us on, we have Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. I think that's it. But just tag us, and we will reshare your content, especially as videos, because it's pretty cool. We have a couple of minutes left. Does anybody have any last questions?
I actually have a question, Chastity, based on something you just said. When we tag you on our social media, are there specific requirements needed in order for you to push it forward?
Usually it's business content. You know, our mission is to help promote and sustain, business in Boca Raton, and we just need to make sure that, if you're a chamber member, Sarah could even talk about more, because unfortunately we don't have a marketing person. So Sarah's been doing all of it. But, as long as it's a business promotion and, it's safe for social media for businesses,
right,
and you're a chamber member, we will repost, reshare, retweet. If you're not a chamber member, we will talk to you first and make you a chamber member, and then you can post. But Sarah, you can jump in and make any comments on that.
I guess I'm just curious, because I've been sending some things and they haven't been posted, and learned after the fact that there's a minimum number of requirements needed in terms of what's on there. So I just need to get a little clarity.
We can talk offline, but seeing as I've been doing the postings, are you sharing it, or are you tagging us on Facebook or Instagram or what?
Mostly Instagram, some Facebook.
So
mostly Instagram.
And what's your company?
Mobile Notary.
Oh, we've been sharing it. I've been sharing all of your stuff.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe if you got to look on the back end, when somebody shares your content, if there's a notification. But just yesterday you had the notary, all, like and I've been sharing all that stuff.
Wow, you're good. Okay.
Well, and also I got to give a shout out to you because the week you joined, you sent a press release. And that's another thing. Anybody that has press releases, send them to us because we put it on the front page of our website. But we also have a great relationship with the Boca Tribune, and we have a back end. We can go on their back end, and we're posting our members' press releases on their news, networks, on their social media and their website. And Mindy, your story got picked up and was a push notification to all of their readers.
That's awesome.
That first week you joined. So right now, the marketing of the marketing benefits you receive is so absolutely priceless. But yeah, if you especially, I know, Mindy, because I've been following you since the beginning because you've gotten such great press. I've been sharing your content. So
thank you. Thank
absolutely.
you.
I would also check on some Instagram guidelines because I know that there are some favorable things that Instagram has and some non-favorable things. So I know Instagram is a lot about graphic-y images and making sure that it doesn't have too much verbiage on it because it doesn't do too well on Instagram. And I don't know if Todd can jump in on here. But when your graphics have too much content, Instagram will kind of push you back and say, hey, this is not going to work, or like I don't remember the verbiage of the error that you'll get, or it won't move because however the algorithms work with Instagram and all that technology stuff. I know that unlike Facebook, where you can do graphics that have some content in it, like some verbiage in it, not too much, because Facebook will actually tell you, especially when you're doing a Facebook ad, it'll tell you that you have too much verbiage in your ad and it won't approve your ad. Right. So Instagram is a little bit more with graphic images. They don't really care too much for multiple links and stuff like that. So you might have gotten something from Instagram and not us as far as guidelines. But let us know if you have any questions. So any other questions for Todd before we close this out? Well, Todd, thank you so much for all the information. We have lots of good feedback here, how thorough you were, great presentation. Some of the people had to jump off, but they gave you tons of kudos, so thank you. Thank you all for joining us this morning. We greatly appreciate it. Please be sure to check out the Chamber's website. There's tons of events coming up on there for you to join via Zoom. Make sure you download the Chamber's app because all of this information is at your fingertips, including our membership directory. So if you want to make some connections or look at some people that you would like to do those video interviews with, I would be sure to check out the Chambers magazine. So have a great day, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you at the next Zoom. Bye, everyone. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.